What's up, guys? Today we are back continuing the series on the world's cheapest pistol and my new favorite gun, the Hi-Point C9. That's a joke. But today I want to try and test the accuracy of this little Hi-Point and see what kind of groups we can get. Now, obviously, when you're talking about accuracy, especially with pistols, most people confuse accuracy with, shootability, I guess. And I'm sure you've all heard people say that this gun is more accurate than this gun, and it's all nonsense. Most of the time the gun is going to be way more accurate than the shooter, and when you're talking about pistols and self-defense and stuff like that, all these guns are going to be more than accurate enough to get the job done. So it is splitting hairs a little bit, but I want to actually try and bench rest this gun and take a lot of that shooter error out and see what kind of groups we can get. So by the way, I'm using a different microphone today. I actually have one attached to my coat here because the shotgun mics just get kind of annoying when I'm moving around a lot. So hopefully it sounds all right. But for a reference, we are going to compare the Hi-Point to my Glock 17. Now, obviously the Glock does have a slightly longer barrel than the Hi-Point. Don't pay attention to that. That is for a different video. But I have seen plenty of videos of people comparing Glock 17s with Glock 19s, and the barrel length shouldn't play too much of a factor. And then the ammo we're going to use is the steel-cased Tula 9mm, and I also have my bench rest right here on the table. So right now we are out at about 10 yards. I do have a paper target taped to our metal door up here, and we are going to shoot a few different groups onto our target and see what kind of accuracy we can get out of this cheap little Hi-Point. Sorry for the lighting. I swear every time I come out here to do a video, the sun is just in the worst possible spot, so I'm sure you guys have a little glare. But like I said, we are at 10 yards and we're going to start with the Glock, and for now I'm going to do 3-shot groups. I know I should probably do 5 or even 10, but I don't want this video to get too repetitive, so we're going to start with 3-shot groups here at 10 yards and see what they look like. I might speed this up in editing, or at least cut in between the shots, because I'm really going to try and take my time here and get these groups as tight as I can. So let's see what the Glock gives us. I'm going to start on that top left target. When you're trying to be that precise, that recoil really surprises you. All right, let's try the Hi-Point. All right, our slide actually went home that time. If you watched my last couple videos on this, we've been having some slide sticking problems, but maybe it's getting broke in. Let's see what we get with the Hi-Point. I'm going for the top right target this time. The front sight's yellow on the Hi-Point. It's kind of hard to see with the sun being bright like it is. And I think the sights are kind of off on this one. I noticed that in the last video. The shots are going a little low, so we'll see where they are. All right, let's go check them out. So don't kill me in the comments for not wearing safety glasses. I usually do, but I'm trying to get these groups as accurate as I can, and this giant glare isn't helping anything. I'm not shooting steel or nothing, but although with the Hi-Point, I probably should be wearing glasses. I don't really trust that gun yet. So here are the groups on our paper target. The top left is the Glock and the top right is the Hi-Point. So I have a tape measure, but I'm not going to break it out for these. You can see these pretty well. Those squares are 1-inch squares, and the Glock definitely gave us under an inch for sure. I would say probably 3/4 of an inch on that group from the Glock. And then the Hi-Point is a little bit bigger, not much. I would say that one's probably 1 inch, maybe just a hair over 1 inch. You can see all 3 of those shots are on that inner black ring. So about an inch, maybe a hair over, but not too much bigger than the group that we got from the Glock. And I've shot that Glock so many times that I'm definitely a lot more used to the trigger than I am, obviously on the Hi-Point that I just bought a couple weeks ago. So let's step back a little bit and keep shooting. So they both did really well at 10 yards. So I went ahead and skipped 15 and came all the way out to 20 yards. So this is already further than you're probably ever gonna have to use a pistol for self-defense, hopefully. So let's see how they do at 20 yards. Once again, starting with the Glock. And I'm going for the bottom left target this time. My front sight is covering up the entire target now, so this is gonna be tough. Not gonna lie, I didn't feel great about any of those. It's just weird having your front sight cover the entire target. So 20 yards is a long shot with a pistol on a, a 2 or 3 inch target like that. All right, let's try the high point. I'm so glad to see the high point finally loading around without sticking. I'm so proud of it. All right, bottom right target with the high point. Actually, this sight picture I like a little better further out like this than the Glock. The rear sight is quite a bit wider on the high point. Those all felt pretty good, actually. All right, let's go see these embarrassing groups. So I got my tape measure this time. My hands are starting to get really cold, but I can't put gloves on yet because we're doing an accuracy test. So, whoa, that is a pretty big difference. Wow, I did not expect that. All right, so our group from the Glock is on the left there. You can see that even at 20 yards, that's still, I would say, probably under an inch. Obviously, I'll measure these here in a second. But that is crazy impressive for a pistol at 20 yards. And then here is our high point, and you can see quite a bit bigger than we had from the Glock. And like I said, the high point actually felt better. Every time that trigger broke, I felt like I was right on that orange dot. So this kind of surprised me. Let's measure them. All right, so from the middle of that first hole to the middle of the second hole, that is under 1 inch from the Glock at 20 yards. I still can't believe that. That definitely surprised me. And with our high point, it's kind of hard to do this holding a camera in one hand and a tape measure in the other. Quit flipping around on me. All right, I would say that is about a 3 inch group from the high point. Hopefully you guys can see that. But definitely about a 3 inch group from the high point at 20 yards. And like I said, that surprised me because the high point felt way better than the Glock. Every trigger break that I had on the high point, I felt happy with. The Glock felt good. The sights were just covering up a little bit more of the target. So I wasn't like moving the Glock when I was shooting it. I just didn't like how much of the target my front sight was covering up, and the high point definitely felt a little bit better. So let's step back a little bit more and do this one more time. All right, now we're out at 30 yards and this is insanely far. This is not a pistol shot that I would ever want to have to take. So let's see how they do at 30. I'm going for the top left target with the Glock. Boy, I cannot wait to put some gloves on. My hands are frozen. I'm gonna drop this down a little bit. I'm on a hill here, so my point of aim kind of shifted. The movement is so exaggerated out here at 30 yards. This is not gonna be good. I'm literally letting my hand like fall off the gun. I'm trying to be so precise on that trigger. All right, let's try the high point. Once again, I like the sight picture of the high point more for sure. All right, those all felt pretty good. Let's go see how they look. So don't make fun of me whenever we walk up on these groups because they're probably not gonna be great. No way. What? All right, I don't think you guys are even gonna believe this. So I'm gonna show you where I'm at the target right now. I'm gonna go ahead and show you where I was shooting from. That is our table all the way back there. And right now I'm standing at the target. Hopefully, maybe you'll be able to see the target from the tripod where I had the camera, hopefully, because I don't think I would believe this if I was watching this video, but I'll go ahead and show you guys these groups. So, like I said, the one on the top left is the Glock. That is under an inch from a pistol at 30 yards. That's crazy. And then here is the group from our high point. That's more like what I was expecting to see from both of them. You know, that's honestly not bad from the high point. Like I wouldn't consider that to be bad. Obviously, it's not great and I'm, shooting the gun by hand, but I mean, that's, it's a pistol at 30 yards. That is amazing. I'm not, trying to brag. I'm saying that's impressive that the gun is able to do that. That is just crazy, but I'll go ahead and measure it. I don't really need to. We can see that's under an inch. From the size of the squares, and there you have it. Under 1 inch group at 30 yards. That's 3 bullets in the same hole at 30 yards from a pistol. Wow. All right, and then here is the group from our high point. Again, it's gonna be hard to do this with a camera and let you guys see it. That is a 6.5 inch group, I would say, from the high point at 30 yards. So, man, again, I don't think I would believe this if I was watching this video. So hopefully you guys can see the target from, you know, the tripod where I had the camera set up. But wow, that's a really big difference. I made the intro to this video talking about how, you know, handgun accuracy is all kind of a myth. They're all accurate enough and blah, blah, blah. And they are. That high point group is definitely still accurate enough. I wouldn't have a problem using it at, you know, like I said, 30 yards is ridiculous. You would never really probably get in a shooting at 30 yards, especially a self-defense shooting. I mean, you could, it's possible. And if it does happen, obviously you'd want your gun to be as accurate as it could be. But when you're hand holding a gun, your error is gonna be what you're gonna notice more than the accuracy of the pistol. But as you can see from our high point and the Glock, that Glock is quite a bit more accurate than the high point, especially out at longer range. That's amazing. So if you can't tell, I'm kind of surprised by this. There's definitely a much bigger difference than I was expecting, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe the barrel length isn't playing a bigger factor than I thought in the beginning of the video. And I know there will be some of you in the comments who are wondering the same thing. So I just went all the way back to the house and grabbed my Glock 43. This is a subcompact pistol, and I believe it's the shortest barrel that Glock makes. So we're gonna take a few shots with the Glock 43 and see how these groups look from the exact same range that we just fired the high point and the Glock 17. Now, obviously the high point is a compact pistol, but I don't own a compact 9mm, which is why I compared it to the full-size Glock 17. Plus, this gun is just so huge, it just seemed like the more fair comparison than the much smaller Glock 43. So let's load up the Glock 43 and see if it's the barrel length that's making the difference or if it really is that big of a quality difference. So I'd already filmed the outro and went back home. I was actually kind of looking over the footage when I got this idea. So it's been a couple hours and it got super cloudy on me. So hopefully it doesn't rain, but we're out here at 30 yards again. I don't think you guys will be able to see it on the shot. I'm gonna go ahead and pan this camera around just so you can see that I actually am at 30 yards. And I noticed in the last Glock video, you couldn't see the target. I wish you could, but now you know we are at 30 yards. And once again, we're using the same steel cased Tula 9mm ammo. Let's see how the Glock 43 does. This barrel's almost too short to even use this rest. I'm hoping I don't shoot it. Glock 43 has much better sights than the 17. All right, bottom left target. A lot more recoil too. All right, those all felt really good. Let's go check them out. So just to show you all how far away we actually are, there's the table that I just shot from. I've mapped this out 100 times. I know how far these lines are. We're definitely at 30 yards when we're shooting these guns. So walking up on the target now, and that's a pretty good group. All right, so here is the group from our Glock 43 at 30 yards. Obviously, it's not quite the half-inch group that we got from the 17, but that's a very tight group. Definitely quite a bit better than the 6.5-inch group that we got from the high point. I would say that's probably under 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. Again, it's not under an inch, but I'll go ahead and measure it. It's actually under 1.5 inches, so it's more like probably 1.25 inches from the Glock 43 at 30 yards. So it looks like the barrel length isn't the only thing that was causing that giant difference. Obviously the group from the 43 is not quite as tight as the 17. I expected that. I did expect there to be a small difference, but I've seen too many videos of people getting ridiculous accuracy from, you know, all different size pistols. So I assumed that this would be the case, but yeah, definitely a pretty impressive group from the Glock 43 as well. So the Glock just kind of stomped the high point in the accuracy test, but now we're at about 7 yards away from my steel plate, and this is more like a realistic self-defense range. Let's see how they do. Starting with the Glock. And the high point. there you have it. They're both good enough. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for me today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, it was kind of splitting hairs, but honestly, I'm surprised. I'm glad I did this because I expected there to be no difference. That's kind of why I did the video. I was gonna prove that, you know, the high point is just as accurate as far as, you know, inherent accuracy as the Glock, and they'd both get the job done. And I still believe that they both would get the job done, as you saw from the shots on the steel. But there's no debate. There's definitely a difference in terms of accuracy when it comes to the Glock versus the high point. But the Glock is 4 or 5 times the price of the high point. So I guess I shouldn't really be surprised that it did perform a little bit better in terms of accuracy. But still surprised me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know and give this video a like. I would really appreciate it. If you would like to help support the channel, you can visit my Patreon. I will post a link to that right here on the screen somewhere. I really appreciate all of you guys who do help support the channel. You help make more, you know, videos like this possible. If you did like this video, guys, please hit that like button for me. I would appreciate that as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.